Welcome back to our daily Bible study. I'm Matthew Gage, pastor at Faith Baptist Church in Decatur, Texas. We're in Genesis chapter number 36 today, and we'll be looking at the descendants of Esau. Now, Genesis chapter number 36 is one of those chapters that when you start out the year and you're reading, plan to read through the scriptures in a year, and you get to a chapter like Genesis 36, and it's a struggle to get through. There are names in here that I can't pronounce. I will do my best. And you're also left wondering why preserve all these names and these titles and things that we'll go through here. Well, before we jump into this, let me remind you, Esau is a descendant of Abraham, and similar to Ishmael, he's not part of the chosen line, but yet he is still receiving some of the blessings of the promises made to Abraham. And in here, we're going to see that his descendants became a mighty people. And we see Edomites throughout the Old Testament and even into the New Testament. We'll see glimpses of them. Herod appears to have been a descendant. He was an Idumean, but just a later iteration of that kingdom. So there's a lot of things going on here. Now, for Bible history, I think this is important. Who's writing this? Moses. When's he writing this? Right before they head towards the Promised Land or en route to the Promised Land. And they're going to encounter these descendants or descendants of these descendants. And some of them will be great enemies and hindrances to the Jewish people. And some of these will honestly be some of the greatest enemies that Israel will face. And there's times that they would appeal to them and say, let us pass through, and they would reject their pleas. And that animosity that started between Jacob and Esau carried on down through the centuries. And we'll see that the roots of it anyway here in chapter number 36 of Genesis. So we're going to jump in. Now, before we begin, one more thing. We're going to talk about the land that's called Edom, or the Land of Seer, or Mount Seir. We've mentioned it a few times before, I'm pretty sure. But if you were to get a map of the Holy Land, this area is kind of the southern part, the east side even of the Dead Sea, and stretching south down to the Gulf of Aqaba, I think it is down there, if I remember correctly. That kind of comes up there. There's a pretty good region in between the Dead Sea and then that little Gulf there that makes up this area. So, but Mount Seir itself, when we talk about that, that's actually over near, I would say modern, but the ancient city of Petra, carved into the rock and everything. Beautiful, beautiful, fascinating archaeology and stuff there too. But that area is this same type of area, kind of in that Trans-Jordan area, up in the those red rocky hills and things. So anyway, if you want to get a glimpse of this area, you can do a Google search or something. It's pretty fascinating, some of the history. And that's one of the things when you get in this may not be as much to the casual Bible student. This chapter is one you're just going to kind of go through. You might pick up on a few names and such, might have some curious questions. But if you really dig into this, there's some fascinating history, some of the names of these, the names and their meanings. I think you can read a lot into the psyche of the people. There's not a lot here talking about God or blessings or things. There's might and power and titles and privilege. So I think you can see a people here who have turned away from trusting in God for strength and trusting in their own strength. So anyway, let's quit rambling, jump right on in. And I will apologize already for slaughtering these ancient names. I dread reading these genealogies when I come to them. The Texas tongue just does not do well with these ancient names, but I shall at least endeavor to try. Genesis 36, verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, close enough, I hope, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite. Now, we're going to point out her real quick before we move on. The second one of those wives, Aholibamah. She, in that lineage, we're going to see these names pop up again here a little bit when we get over to verses 24 and 25. I actually have a few notes over here, so I didn't want to miss this out. But you'll see those names repeated, and she appears kin to a different group of people, specifically the Horites from around Mount Seir, and we're going to get some of their lineage also. We'll talk about them in a minute. But that's the connection between the two people that will be spoken of here is her. Verse number 3, continuing on with the wives of Esau. And Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister to Nebajoth. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Rael. And Aholibamah bare Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than they might dwell together in the land wherein they were strangers, could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So here we see a similar situation, I think, to Abraham and Lot, that they chose. We can't stay in the same area. The land, the grass, the fields cannot provide enough pasture land for our flocks and our cattle. Plus, the inhabitants of this land they're living a very nomadic lifestyle in this area. So it sounds like kind of a similar thing. Esau now goes to a new place and settles in this area that will become the land of Edom down there, like I say, on the south and east side of the sea, of the Dead Sea. Verse number 9. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau; Rael, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gadam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. Now, I'll point out right there, Amalek. That's an important name when we come down through this. Fast forward a few centuries, the children of Israel, one of their chief enemies are going to be the Amalekites. And they are going to be a very vicious, cruel enemy that they face. Here is their origin right here in this descendant of Esau, there in verse 12. Verse 13. These are the sons of Rael, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. Verse number 14. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife, and she bare to Esau Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. Verse 15. These were dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz. Verse 16, Duke Korah, Duke Gadam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. Now, pause right here. We'll talk about this title that pops up. This King James Bible translates it Duke, which comes from Latin dux, which is kind of a general term for a leader. And it's a very interesting term, this title. It's not a king per se. In fact, there's going to be kings later on listed. So what are these? One person kind of joked and said that they were uncrowned kings, but they are rulers, maybe not even hereditary in some cases. It's a very interesting deal. We don't know a lot of terms or a lot of the details on this, but these were people of power, people of titles. So this aristocracy in development inside the descendants of Esau. I think that is important. But so that word Duke there, I think if I say the Hebrew name, I think it's Aleph, something like that. And like I say, it's a very general term. It's found here, a few other places. Later on, that same type of word kind of becomes a word meaning like general or leader in the army. So you can kind of take that and get an idea. This is just a general term for a leader that has its root back here. But you'll note it's very specific. We can't just say that here's the dukes or the leaders. We have to say this is Duke this guy, Duke this guy. It's a very specific. So it sounds like they were pretty keen on observing the use of of these titles. Verse 17, and these are the sons of Rael's, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, and Duke Zerah, Duke Shema, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Rael in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. Verse 18, these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife, Duke Jeush, Duke Jalem, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. So one of the theories on these guys is that, we're talking kind of like a clan system, family system, and that these would be the family heads, kind of similar to the way we have the children of Israel, Jacob and then his sons, they basically become the fountainheads for the 12 tribes of Israel. Well, it's a very similar thing that we see right here. I think very likely is that all these people are the different clans. You're an Edomite, yes, but then you're also, of the clan of Shema or Mizah or one of these other names. I think that's another good explanation I meant to mention before. Verse number 20, we shift here and we talk about the Sons of Seer, who's this area that Mount is named for, who's a Horite. That name means something about a hole or a dwelling. Some people say they're like cave dwellers or dwell in the rocks, which they were still doing centuries after that. If you look at the city of Petra and those buildings that are carved into the rock faces there, so nothing new under the sun. But you say, well, why in the world are we talking? We've been talking about the sons of Esau. Now all of a sudden we're talking about the Horites. And this kind of gets glossed over in some of the commentaries. And I was really surprised. I don't have a ton of commentaries specific to Genesis, but even in some of my more general commentaries, they kind of just gloss over the fact. They say, oh, this chapter is all about Esau's descendants. Well, right here, we're talking about a different line of people. So, but remember here, I pointed out that Aholibamah, Esau's wife, is a connection between these two people. And then when you fast forward a little bit into Deuteronomy chapter 2 and some other passages, you'll see that the Esau's descendants, the Edomites, possess the land of the Horites in Mount Seir. So my interpretation of this is that what we see here is the history of this second group of people who intermarry, who are dwelling with the descendants of Esau, and that over time, Esau's descendants become greater and usurp them from power. I believe there's some talk about some battles in some of the things I read, but through battles, through intermarriage, or just through the sheer ascendancy of power and wealth of the descendants of Esau, they come to usurp the place and power of these Horites. So I think that's why they're listed here. They're powerful people, but this is listing them out and their connection to Esau. Verse number 20. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land: Lotan and Shobal and Zibeon and Anna, and Dishon and Ezer and Dishon. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir, in the land of Edom. Verse 22, and the children of Lotan were Hori and Himam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these: Alvan and Manahath and Ebal and Shepho and Onam. Verse 24, and these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anna. This was that Anna which found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Zibeon his father. So I like this little, it's like a little local color story. Like, yeah, you've heard the story about this guy. Well, nowadays we hadn't heard the story, but back then there was, oh yeah, oh that's a legend story. You know, that's one of those things. I don't know, pass into like being a Robin Hood or King Arthur story, or George Washington in his false teeth or chopping down the cherry tree, something like that. You know, it's just kind of just one of those little byword sayings of the time. Verse 25. And the children of Anna were these, Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna. There's your connection back to Esau. And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdam and Eshaban and Ithran and Cheran. And the children of Ezer are these, Bilhan and Zaavan and Achan. The children of Dishan are these, Uz and Aram. Verse 29. These are the dukes that came of the Horites, Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anna, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Hori among their dukes in the land of Seir. So we see the same thing. Where did Esau get the idea and his descendants for this title? Well, they got it from the Horites. They're copying their culture. Verse 31. And these are the kings. Different term here. Now we're talking about kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. That's an interesting phrase right there. And some people say, well, that means the book of Genesis had to have been written, you know, when they knew there would be kings. So after Saul and David and Solomon, or in their time. That doesn't have to be the case. In fact, when you read the Mosaic Law, you'll see there's provisions for when there is a king. So even though God never really, I'm going to say God didn't plan for it, he did leave a plan for it. But God's perfect plan, there wouldn't have been a king over Israel. It's still, there is something in the law and in the provision of God for that to happen. And I think that's what this is talking about. Verse 32. And Bela the son of Beor reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab the son of Zerah of Bozrah reigned in his stead. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temani reigned in his stead. You note here, it's these people in these lands. This doesn't seem necessarily to be a hereditary thing with this, maybe elected. It's kind of interesting. Like I say, this would be very fascinating to go back and do a lot of study on. And by the way, the Edomites, you say, well, this is Bible. If you don't trust the Bible historical record, you also have some Egyptian records that talk about them. A lot of archaeology they've dug up, and they know quite a bit, or from culture and things that they've dug up about these people. So this isn't a mystery people. This is well established that these people existed. Let's see here. I think we're in verse number 35. And Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrakah reigned in his stead. And Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan the son of Ekbor reigned in his stead. And Baal-Hanan the son of Ekbor died, and Hador reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Pal, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. So this is that list of this royalty that comes down. Now, the question is with this, is this pre-Esau? Is it post-Esau? A lot of people seem to think that this is pre-Esau with these kings reigning, that this was a different kind of a system that was replaced with the dukes. I'm really not entirely sure. I really wasn't convinced either way on that. I'll have to do some more digging and some more study on that. But a lot of people seem to think, when you go back to, I think it was chapter 14, there was some battles and things that take place, and that the kings may have been established in that time. But like I said, not a lot of information given on them in this. Let's see, verse number 40. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families after their places by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Japheth, Duke Aholabama, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Timon, Duke Mibzar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Iram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to the habitations in their land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. So here we go, the descendants of Esau intermarrying him with this other group, the Horites, and this union and this powerful group of people that come out that rule this region, become populous, become wealthy, and become a power to be reckoned with, and we will meet them again. Now, as far as Esau goes, we're pretty well done with him for the book of Genesis. Chapter number 37, we're going to start looking at Joseph. But these people in these places and some of these names that we just saw, we're going to see them again. When we get into the story of the Exodus, we're going to start seeing some of those people again. So we'll probably be referring back to this chapter. So it may not look like much at the start, may be full of confusing names that you struggle with, but still, it's a very important linchpin in the history and in the plan of God that you'll see even in these genealogies and these lists of names and rulers that seem to have little significance. No, in the plan of God, they're still going to have some importance and have interaction with God's people. So anyway, there we go. I'll quit rambling on the history and such on that. I appreciate you watching, and I hope it's been a help and a blessing to you.